Welcome to the Not My Scene podcast, the podcast where we explore different scenes, communities, subcultures, and corners of the internet and tell you what we find.
Due to the length and immersion of this weekend experience, this is going to be a two-part episode. So part one will detail the prep and my experiences on day one of the LARP, and part two will be day two and everything that follows.
Make sure to follow us on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen. Rate, subscribe, share.
Tell your friends. What's your scene?
My scene, I think it's also your scene, but
yeah.
Fame sick. I'm fame sick.
I'm obsessed. I'm so excited that we can talk about. Are you finished with the book already?
No, honestly, there's more there than I realized. I'm like 75% through.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty long. I'm listening to the audiobook. I guess we should say Fame Sick, the new Lena Dunham memoir. If you get it, you get it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just the white millennial women target audience, so.
Yeah. She's really having a moment right now, though. I'm like really happy for her. I'm not at the part of the book yet where things have gotten really sad. There's sadness throughout, but I'm happy to know I'm expecting things to get worse before they get better. And I'm happy to know that right now she seems like she's in a really good place and she's getting a lot more public love to the extent that even matters to her. I don't know, but
I think it really does.
Yeah, I think so too.
But also, you know, that thing of celebrities, they're always like, oh my God, that time before when I seemed really good, I was actually really bad and like on drugs and messed up. And then they're like, but now I'm really good. And then in another 5 to 10 years, they're like, so that time I was actually also really bad.
We're going to get the memoir about the writing of the memoir and like how fucked up she was when she was on Seth Meyers.
I'm just worried about like how much press she's doing. I hope she is genuinely like in a good place, because it seemed like that was like really hard for her.
I hope so too. I mean, I feel like at least for I.M, she's so young in the book, and I have to assume that some of this just naturally gets better with age. Like so many of the bad things that happened to her and the horrible things she went through, it's like, yeah, why was no one taking care of you? Why were all these adults taking advantage of you, a 23-year-old baby? And now she's 40, and I hope it's a little better, but yeah. I'm loving it. I'm listening to the audiobook, which I highly recommend. And she describes her first date with Jack Antonoff, and I was getting like full body chills. She's such a good writer. And I know that it's not going to end well, but it is a really good first date description.
No, the first date was really cute.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much there. But yeah, she's just so funny. I love her writing. Definitely, I don't want to say too much beyond what you've read, but I can see how it would get like annoying to people as you continue reading. Just getting ahead of the backlash here, like it's like, okay, you keep putting yourself into these situations, and like, yeah, I do definitely feel bad and have a lot of empathy for her, but if you're not into hearing someone complain, you might not enjoy.
It's clear as you're listening to what's happening to her, you want someone to be taking care of her, and you also want her to stop pursuing self-destructive things, but take care of herself. Yeah. But I do feel like she is so good. She's such a genius, and she writes such funny stuff, and it almost feels to me like her self-destructive tendencies and all these horrible situations she puts herself in, that's like how she makes her comedy. Everything ends up being like material for better. I don't want to call it content because I think it's like more art than content, but
that's her whole thing. Oh my God, she overshares. It's like, yeah, that's like what she does for a living.
Well, also, this is something I really feel like she overshares. Like, yeah, Lena Dunham does overshare, maybe more so than even other types of artists. But someone is only oversharing if you don't like what they have to say. All artists have to share if they want their work viewed by the world. So I just feel like the oversharing stuff is like, yeah, and I like it. I want her to keep oversharing so I can keep consuming her work.
Yeah, me too.
It's so fun. Also, okay, if you're not sure about listening to it or reading it, anyone who enjoyed the show Girls, it's so fun hearing the behind the scenes of like the casting and how she came up with the idea, and I really enjoyed that portion of the book.
Me too. Also, it is really interesting to think about how she was such a topic of discourse, even though the show was like not hugely mainstream popular. Like, even I didn't watch the show at the time it was coming out, but I feel like I was so aware of her and like read her memoir, even though I didn't watch the show until later.
She really is kind of an anomaly. It's crazy that she got her own HBO show at 23 and was like writing and directing and starring and producing in it.
Okay. Is that your scene too, or do you have a different scene?
Yeah, that's my scene too. So let's get into it because we have a lot to discuss today.
Okay.
So this episode is going to be a little bit different than normal because I came up with a kind of goofy idea. And I was like, Den, I want to do a surprise scene for you. I'm going to go do this thing. And honey, I'm turning my location off. Don't follow me the weekend of April 24th.
Did you actually turn it off?
Yeah.
I wasn't checking.
I mean, I kind of knew you wouldn't, but I would have. So anyways, I turned my location off. Yarden does not know what this scene is. And I'm really excited to talk about this scene and get Yarden's going to be like one of you guys. She's going to be like the viewer asking all your burning questions. I'm a stand-in
for you.
Self-insert audience member. Scenester Sister Yarden. Okay. Do you have any guesses of what we're discussing?
No, I literally have no idea. I don't know. Yeah, no.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
This week, we are discussing the fantastical world of live action role play, otherwise known as LARP.
Yay! Oh my god.
And it's going to be a meaty one.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think this was on our list of topics we wanted to do, but it had made its way very much to the bottom. And I think it might have even been on our like, do we want to do this portion of the list? But we will start at the beginning. So basically, I have been LARP curious for a while. I think mainly because I am a Renaissance fair lady to an extent, and I love like fantasy medieval stuff. I feel like I was really in my fantasy bag this winter, like playing Baldur's Gate 3 nonstop, reading a lot of fantasy books, just like really craving like medieval type content. So I had been thinking about LARP and recently moved back to Seattle, and friend of the pod, Lizzie, had been saying for a while, like, you guys should really talk to my LARP friends, which I was interested in, but I don't know, nothing had ever come of it. And we were knitting together one night and she brought it up again. And so I started looking into this thing and I realized that there was like way more there than I had previously understood. I guess I'll start by asking, when you think about LARP, what do you imagine LARP to be?
I imagine people, I guess mostly like a medieval or Renaissance vibe and like dressing up as characters and like reenacting a scene. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's mostly right. There's like, we can talk about all of the elements of that, and there's a lot of ways that it can be different. Like you can do a medieval LARP, you could do like a cyberpunk LARP, you could do a Western LARP. I think a lot of the times it has maybe something that makes it a little different. So like if it's a Western LARP, it might be like a space cowboy LARP. I mean, but it probably could just be like Western too.
Like it wouldn't be something that that's already really real in like our current times that you could just like working at an investment bank.
I mean, you probably could if you could find a group of willing people, like creatives who are like dying to put on a suit. And I do think the term gets thrown around in a more casual context, like, oh, I'm LARPing as this. So you could say, oh, inside I am a polyamorous circus performer, but unfortunately I have to LARP as an investment banker when I go to my day job.
Like people have definitely started using LARP and cosplay casually like that.
Yes. Yeah. And there's definitely a lot of cosplay element to LARP, from what I
Wait,
understand.
so what is the difference between LARP and cosplay?
That's a good question. I will take a stab at it, but I'm not sure that this is like definitionally correct. Cosplay is like, I think, more focused on the visual aspect of LARP. I think cosplay is a part of LARP, but cosplay is like, let's look up what it means. I'm guessing it's like costume play or something. So people will cosplay for like conventions like Comic-Con. Yeah, costume play. So it's a performance art where participants wear costumes and accessories to represent characters from anime, video games, film, and literature. But then like cosplay is also a part of LARP in that LARPing is like so much more. Like LARPing is like you said, people are doing like scenes and there's like combat and there's like plot and storylines and people have established characters, but they might be like cosplaying too. So I guess I don't know if you would call it cosplay if you're dressing up as like a new thing that you invented, but you could definitely also participate in a LARP as like an existing character, probably. I'm sure there's a world out there where someone is like LARPing as like King Arthur. So yeah, I think your understanding of LARP is primarily correct. And I think I also like, when I thought about LARP, it was very much like people in the park playing with foam swords. Like I thought about it as kind of like an after work activity, maybe. Like you see them a lot in like Cal Anderson and stuff, like LARPers out there hitting each other. I didn't know that there were opportunities for LARP that were like pretty immersive. And when Lizzie started telling me about her friend's LARP, I looked this event up, and they do this twice a year event that spans a whole weekend. So it's like Friday at 5 p.m. the LARP begins, and the LARP ends on Sunday, and people can even get to the LARP space Thursday evening if they want. So it's like really an immersive thing, and it's held at this like state park, or this like, yeah, it's held at this park where there's like cabins and people stay there, and it's like a whole event. And I like didn't know that LARP could look like that, and it piqued my interest as a podcaster and a lover of Renaissance fairs and medieval content. So I'm looking into this thing. It turns out that they do 2 events a year. One is in April, one is in November. The November one like immediately sounds less up my alley,
like
because
so
I'm
dark.
Like, yeah, and so wet and cold and muddy, which like could maybe be fun, but like LARPing in the cold just seems worse to me than LARPing in April. So there's this April one. It's like completely sold out. I start doing research into it, and it's clear that this is like a hot ticket to get. So I'm starting to look into the event, and there's 2 options for participation. You can either be a player or you can be a non-player character, an NPC. Players have to spend, I don't know, upwards of $200 to go to the event. And they are like a player that they have created, and they're that player like the whole weekend long. So they have like their costume for their player, and they are the player, and they like move through the event as this player. The alternate, and I think a lot of the players like come back every event. So they've been doing this. I should back up. This LARP that Lizzie's friends are doing takes place twice a year, and it's been happening for like at least 4 years. So it's like a very established thing. And they've always planned for the LARP to end this November. So it like began when it began a few years ago, and there was always going to be like a finite number of events, and the last event was going to be this November.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, wait, there's not that much of an opportunity to go to this if I'm going to try to go. And there's also this option to be a non-player character. And my understanding going in is that like you're basically like a volunteer that puts on a bunch of different hats. You set up all these different encounters for the players to move through, but you're going to be like a different character in each thing. And sometimes you might be more an extra, like almost part
like you're
of
in like a scene, a big scene.
Yeah, but other times you might be like a named NPC. And some of these named NPCs are non-player characters that have been in prior encounters that the players know and have interacted with. And so that sounds way more up my alley. I'm like, okay, obviously I don't know any of the lore here, but that like sounds funny to be an NPC. Also just being like, I'm an NPC is intriguing to me. I'm just going to get on the wait list for the April event, and we'll see. If I get off the wait list, then maybe I'll go. Also, to be an NPC is free. It's completely free. If you want to, you can pay $25 for the reduced fare meal plan, and then all of your meals are included, but you don't have to pay to stay in the cabin or attend the event at all.
Wow.
So I'm like, what's there to lose, right?
Yeah.
I get on the wait list, and then maybe 2 weeks before the event, I get an email that there has been a spot that has opened up, and I am the next person on the wait list. Yes. So it's my spot if I want it. Gripped with anxiety immediately. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I have a week to decide. I don't know anyone who's going. Lizzie's like, I can introduce you to my LARP friends so you'll know people there. And basically at the end, I was like, I should just go because YOLO, and like, how bad can it be? This feels like a really rare opportunity to really engage with a very niche situation. Yeah. And I'm curious about this, and I don't want to go in November. So I accept my ticket, and then things like get very exciting very quickly. I have to, or should I say, any questions so far?
So I guess you'll say, but did you plan to go for 2 nights?
Yeah. So I start looking into it, and I'm like, I can't go Thursday night because I have to like work, but I'll plan to go on Friday. You have to like be there on Friday for
like by 5 p.m.
By 5 p.m. It goes nonstop until Saturday night at 2 a.m. was when the last event was supposed to conclude.
Oh my God.
And then you were allowed to go to bed, and then the next
They don't let you sleep Friday night.
Sorry. You are allowed to sleep Friday night. The encounters end at 2 a.m. on Friday night, and then the first one was at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, and then you work all day. Yeah.
Not much sleep.
Not much sleep. Like, I'm trying to think the last time I've done something from 7 a.m. till 2 a.m. and
no,
nothing comes to mind. It was kind of like Coachella-like, I feel like, in the time commitment of everything. Huh?
It's endurance.
Yeah, definitely endurance. So I plan to go on Friday, and then I start like researching everything, and it's like incredibly organized. Like, I was really taken aback immediately by the level of like planning and logistics that's going into this thing. So they circulate. First, I have to watch this video that gives me like an hour of background on LARP and like combat and all of these different safety signals they basically implemented into the game so that people feel comfortable with stuff in the context of role play. So there's like, you can do this kind of like thumbs up, middle, down. You can flash an OK sign. I learned that fist on your forehead, like kind of unicorn horn style, means like out of game. So if you do this, you're considered invisible.
That's literally like when kids are playing and someone gets hurt or overwhelmed and they're like, I'm not playing.
Oh, literally. So there's something for that, and it's called the hold. And if anyone gets hurt or anything happens where someone needs a moment, if they feel like a boundary has been violated or they're uncomfortable or they're catching their breath or they've been hit too hard, you call the hold, and then it's like hold, and then everyone freezes. Like, you have to respect the hold. Scene paused until, and then they would say the reason for the hold has been addressed, or like the reason for the hold no longer exists. Scene continue. Like, someone would announce that to the group. So there's the hold, and there's also this mechanic called Oh Mother, which I immediately really like. And it's basically like a way to indicate discomfort without breaking the scene. So if you're like at the bar in the tavern and someone is like flirting with you, because I think romance is an element of this, or it like certainly can be, or you might be flirting to like get information out of someone, or like there's all this politicking. If someone is flirting with you and you're starting to feel like this is in game, but it's also starting to make me a little uncomfortable, you could respond by saying something like, "Oh, mother, you're advances are growing tiresome. And then they would know that because you had said, oh, mother, they had to cool it a little bit.
Gotcha.
If you're in combat and someone hits you really hard, you could say, oh, mother, that hit hurt. Or if you have been like kidnapped and you're being held guard and the guard is squeezing your wrists too hard, you could say, oh, mother, your grip is like iron.
Did you see these in action?
No, I actually never saw Oh Mother in action, and a little bit of a teaser. There were definitely moments where I feel like I should have used Oh Mother and I completely forgot about it as an option.
Oh no.
But I did see the hold in action multiple times, and I definitely made myself invisible multiple times. The other way that you can be invisible for longer periods of time is you can put a white headband on, and they provided those. So
nice.
I'm learning about all of these safety mechanics, and then I get sent this spreadsheet, and this thing is amazing. It's like this very detailed spreadsheet that maps out everything that's going to happen from the pre-LARP prep until the end. So from like Thursday afternoon until Sunday afternoon, it has like half an hour to 2 hour long slots mapping out everything. So it's like, it has all of the like setup slots, and it will say like what the setup is, for how long it will be for, and then there's like spaces for NPCs to sign their names up and also for like players to sign their names up. And this spreadsheet has all of these encounters. So there's probably maybe 10 encounters a day if I had to guess. And it's very detailed. It says what time you need to be in Monster Town, which I learn is the name for the NPC area where they're going to have everything you need to set up for every scene. And then, so if I'm going to be in a scene at 2 p.m., I have to be at Monster Town at 1 to start getting my hair and makeup and costume done.
Oh my God. I was literally imagining you just like putting on a felt hat.
I mean, my costume could be a felt hat, but it is not always. And it's not
so
always.
There's people volunteering there that are like hair and makeup artists.
Yeah. So like when I get there is a dedicated makeup person, and she is so talented. I'm like immediately blown away. It's giving dance performance, like having blush put on and stuff like that. But she's so good at it's not just like blush. It's like super realistic bruises on the face or like crazy scars that look like
I hope you have selfies.
I do.
Okay.
And the first night, like I see this woman and it was literally giving like The Last of Us. She had used like liquid latex to create these like fungal like neon growths coming out of her face. I'm like, oh my God, this is like really high production. Like I did not anticipate. It's like amazing makeup. This woman is like so kind and so talented, and she's basically just there to be doing makeup the whole time.
That's so cool because it's like, I feel like you only ever see that when it's for the purpose of putting on a show or a movie for other people, but it's literally, we just want the players to have the best experience and be really immersed and think this person is a fucked up zombie or whatever.
Totally. Like I feel like as I'm preparing for it, I'm like, this is like, we're basically putting on a play for people who are also in the play and no one is watching.
How many people were there total, do you think?
I think there's like around 100 players and maybe like 20 NPCs. The spreadsheet says like when you should be in Monster Town and then when your scene is going to start. And then it has like each character in the scene. And then there's all these open spaces where you can sign your name up or indicate interest in a particular role. So I got this spreadsheet and I start looking through it. And then also you can click like each name of each encounter. So it'll be like the winding road from 1 to 3, or it'll be like the Pilgrim's Revenge from 3 to 4. And there's like a name like that for each thing. And you can click on the name and it hyperlinks to basically like a manual for the encounter that has like a description of the relevant plot and each character and what their like ambitions and interests and relationships are like and what everyone will be wearing and what props will be needed and what special effects will be needed. And it's like really in depth and I'm overwhelmed. I start looking through the spreadsheet and trying to decide like what to sign up for. And at first I'm like kind of disappointed because I was joining everything a little late. And so a lot of the like named characters have already been signed up for. But I actually think in retrospect, that was a very good thing because I am like such a baby with respect to all of this lore. Like they have been doing this. I think the event I went to was maybe like event number 8. So there's already like 7 full weekends worth of lore that these people have developed that I have like no understanding of. So I go through, I volunteer for a bunch of roles. I'm like definitely gravitating towards more beastly ghoul like things just because it sounds fun to me. I'm not as interested in playing like a lady or a human, period. Like it just sounds more fun to completely disassociate and be like a crazy guy, you know?
Yeah.
So I sign up for a lot of stuff like that. I get approved for like certain
You're
roles.
like, I want a lot of special effects makeup.
Yeah, I want to be completely unrecognizable.
I want hours in the chair.
Yeah, Jacob Elordi and Frankenstein style.
Yeah.
I sign up for a bunch of stuff. I get assigned to certain things. And then prep begins. So, like the week before LARP, I am studying all of my sheets, trying to like learn who is going to be in what roles and who these people are and there's like so much there. Like there's like religious systems, there's like a religious cult, and then there's like an opposing religious cult that has like sprung up in response.
Oh my God.
And there's like so many different noble families, and they all have like different last names and different factions and like political histories, and there's like a lot there.
And so wait, also, did you end up meeting anyone before you went?
Yeah, good question. So Lizzie's not there. She does not sign up. Her friends, I connect with some of them over the internet. So there's a Discord for the LARP that is super active. And there's like all these different channels. Like there's like photos from prior events. I'm looking at the photos and I'm like, what is happening? Like it looks so high production and crazy.
This is like the Super Bowl for like Cal Anderson LARPers.
Yeah, exactly. And the rest of us playing rec sports there have no idea like how intense it gets. Yeah, so I connect with a few of her friends like over Discord, and they're like really helpful and kind. Like I get a packing list from somebody who recommends that I bring gloves, which was like a huge win because my hands were so cold every night. But also everything has to be like in the correct style. So I'm told that as an NPC, all of my costumes will be provided for all of my roles. But so the only thing I necessarily have to bring are my NPC blacks, which is basically like long underwear, like a black long sleeve shirt and black long pants that are like long underwear or legging style. And then I need a pair of shoes that are, the term that kept getting used was, I think, historically anachronistic, which anachronistic is something that is chronologically out of place, outdated, or belonging to another time period. So refers to old-fashioned items. So I basically was like trying to find things that would be like Ren Fair. Huh?
You're trying to find old shoes.
Old shoes, like no tabbies.
No,
unless it was like a early period Japan LARP, but it wasn't.
So what shoes did you wear?
I bring my Docs because I'm also like
good.
Yeah, they're like kind of anachronistic, and I'm also worried about like messing up other shoes because we're going to be like running around and in the woods and maybe getting muddy depending on the weather, so they seem like sturdy and good. I bring my Docs. I also bring gloves. We weren't allowed to bring anything that had like visible logos on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like the Starbucks cup in that Game of Thrones scene.
Yeah, they really like the production here is like quite a bit higher, so they don't want any kind of like Starbucks cup slip ups. And then Lizzie hooks it up. She gives me like a bunch of Ren Fair clothing generally. She's like, my understanding is this is like a lot of big guys, and I don't know if the costumes are necessarily going to fit like smaller people who are women. So here's like a peasanty skirt and a peasanty blouse, and like she gives me some cloaks, which really come in handy. So I pack up my bag. I've got my NPC blacks and my Ren Fair type clothing. I bring my elf ears, even though I'm not cast in any roles that would require them.
Wishful thinking.
Literally, I'm wearing them on the drive down. And
how far of a
else?
drive was it?
It's like 2 hours away from Seattle.
Okay.
Commitment. It's going to be an adventure. But I'm like so scared because I don't know. I haven't slept in a cabin with 3 other adults that I don't know. And like, well, I've actually never done that. I've done it as a child. And I'm like definitely in the beginning, like, is this a weird sex thing? And I can't see any indication that it is a weird sex thing. So I feel good about that. But I'm just generally anxious about going to do this thing without knowing literally anybody there.
Yeah.
So I think that's basically it pre-event. And then I drive down there and I'm like so anxious. I get like a Diet Coke that I slam like at a rest stop right outside the park where they're holding the event. And then it's my last historically anachronistic drink or my last historically anachronistic drink. And I drive in and I'm like driving into this park and it's very clear. It's beautiful, first of all. Gorgeous Washington scenery, but it's also filled with people that are not LARPers. There's people with fishing rods. There's people camping. I'm like, do I need to get a discovery pass to park here? But the LARP is being held at the retreat center, which is like at the very center back of the park. So I'm driving through and then I basically pull in and as soon as I get close, I'm like, oh, it is so on. Already, I'm like, I'm in a Renaissance fair. People have set up, you know, those tents that I presume like really important knights or royals would have slept in on battlefields. They're kind of draped fabric.
Yeah.
So there's like a bunch of those set up in the fields around the road that I'm driving in on. And there's a amphitheater with wooden benches that has been like transformed into what looks like kind of a Renaissance fair-esque stage. There's hanging painted banners with like Renaissance-y figures on it, and there's strings of flags that look very Ren Fair. And I see on my right there's a whole ass archery range set up. Like I'm already like, oh my God, wow. Shivers. Like I'm at the Ren Fair.
This is so much work for, I'm curious more about like who the organizers and who wrote everything and like organized all of this.
Yeah. So there's staff that are responsible for all of the organizing and the plot, and it must be so much work because the amount of lore was like almost overwhelming. It's so complicated. It's complex to the point where you're like, yeah, no, I can tell AI is not involved here because only a human could come up with so many different factions, so many different names that sound similar. Like there's so much there. It feels very Game of Thrones, like the volume of lore. But the problem is there's no book for me to like read.
There's no here's what you missed last season.
Right, which would be like so much work, but honestly would have been like so helpful.
Yeah.
But I don't blame these people for not transcribing a tome of everything that has happened at the last event before the next one. But yeah, it seems like so much work. So I park and everyone I can see is in their historically anachronistic costumes. There's like this wood, big, like kind of town hall space. And it is completely transformed. It is a medieval tavern. It's sick.
So fun.
They have hung all these things from the wall or ceilings that I wouldn't even think of hanging. I feel like there was like a boar leg hanging and there was like flags and like family crests and like branches and just generally like medieval vibey things. And then all the tables are like set with old goblets and chalices and branches and ivy and bones and skulls and things. There's like posters on the wall that are like in the style of ye old poster that have wanted images, like drawings of what I realize are like actual players that people have like illustrated their faces depending on like if it's relevant to the plot, or like ads for like maybe like quests that people might want to go on and things like that.
Wow. And it's like, are they actually serving booze?
Yeah. NPCs drink for free. And so I can have as many cocktails as I want. And there's also like an area to get food, and there's like a bar wench there. And they have a menu scrawled in chalk on this thing. The cocktail menu is very fun. It's like nectars and ambrosias, and like it's basically all like mixed drinks. I don't think they had mead, but
yeah, I feel like a ale would be like what I would expect, but maybe it was like too hard to get kegs.
Yeah, so I went in there demanding an ale. I pounded my fists, and I was very frustrated to only get like Moscow Mule type situation. No, it was, yeah, there was no beer, but I would too. I feel like people would be like pounding frothy. Also, it'd be good to have a light, like a low ABV beer so that people could drink a bunch of it in character.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I go into the tavern for the first time. I have like a very awkward first conversation with someone where I can't tell if I'm like allowed to introduce myself as Kaia still. And they were in their cool character outfit. I tell them it's my first time being there and I'm an NPC and I've never LARPed before, and they seem really taken aback by that.
You're like, why would you do this for your first time?
Well, first they're like, is this your first time at this LARP? And I'm like, yes. And then they're like, oh, have you done other LARPs? And I'm like, no. And they're like, wow. But everyone's like nice.
They're like, wow, I kind of am not looking forward to my encounters with you.
They're like, okay, so which ones are you going to be leading? I'm going to steer clear of that.
So are they introducing themselves as their character or as their name?
That's a good question, because their name was basically like...
They had an anachronistic name.
Yeah, they did. I don't know if that was their character's name or if that was their name.
I think Kaia could be anachronistic.
Yeah, thanks. So I meet up with a person who's in the staff. I check in, and then when I walk into my cabin, I enter the door, I knock, and this man opens the door, and there's a woman in the top bunk, and she's like sleeping, and she rolls over and she's like, hello, like not awake. And I feel like I'm intruding on something very private, but they assure me it's fine. I go in, I introduce myself to them. I have a little bunk. The only bunk left is a bottom bunk, which is great. I set my sleeping bag up on this bunk. I put my stuff under the bunk, and then the girl in my cabin is like, okay, we're going to go down and get ready. And I see that they're not just wearing their NPC blacks. They're like wearing medievally tops and
like
skirts
she was
and things.
sleeping in medieval clothes.
No. I didn't see what she was sleeping in because I wasn't
she was in her bag.
Yeah, she was in her bag and she's in the top bunk. She could have been nude in the bag. Which would have been kind of historically anachronistic.
Yeah, like it's better to be nude than to be wearing like sweatpants with a drawstring.
Yeah, there definitely weren't drawstrings. So that's why I was actually naked not, when I walked into the
Cookie
tavern.
Monster pajamas.
I feel like trad wife culture is really preparing someone to be able to seamlessly go into a LARP.
Like you
could just wear a loose linen. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what she was sleeping in, but basically as soon as she was up, she was in her peasant garb. So I put on my stuff over my blacks, and then I asked the guy what I should do, and he's like, I would basically put together a day bag of everything you'll want while you're at Monster Town.
Yeah. Wait, I have a question. What are the rules around phones? Because I imagine you would want to not be seen with your phone out.
Yeah, that's a good question. So... basically, I come to learn Monster Town is a safe zone. Like, you can basically do whatever you want when you're there because players should never be there.
It's like backstage.
It's like backstage. And whenever a player would come close, and it was kind of like a meandering walk through the woods, people would be like, player, player, and then we'd stop talking about whatever we were talking about. So I was on my phone a lot there. Mainly, though, just looking at descriptions of what I would be doing next and what my schedule was, because I also had like no service the whole weekend. So that was also very immersive. And it did seem like a lot of the other NPCs were like used it as kind of an opportunity to be like fully offline. And I assume players are fully offline too, which is cool. Nice way to.
But like at Monster Town, you were out of character, so you were talking with other people and getting to know people as just like their actual who they are.
Yeah. People were not LARPing in Monster Town, which was kind of a huge relief to me.
Yeah.
It's probably like a 5-minute walk from my cabin. I get there and it's these 4 cabins. One cabin is kind of staff headquarters. There's like a table there where whoever is the person, there's always like a member of staff that's the encounter manager for a certain period of time. So they're like the person you would go to with questions. They're like the showrunner, basically. They have like a big printed out version of the schedule on the wall in there. And then there's a whole makeup table, and that's where the makeup is happening, and the makeup artist is there. That's the makeup and logistics cabin. Then there's
this is all part of Monster Town.
Yeah, like the second cabin is the human costume cabin. So it has like big like rolling racks with costumes, and there's like nobility clothing. There's a lot of like peasant clothing. There's kind of like priesty, like just like neutrals.
And you're like coming there wearing your skirt and top.
Yeah, I'm like hanging out in my skirt and top. That's generally what I'm wearing every day, is my skirt and top. Because I want to be like
London, yeah.
Yeah, because theoretically you could wear your NPC blacks when you're like walking to the tavern or to your cabin, but I feel like it's nicer for the players that you're like also kind of in Red Fair garb.
It's all about the players' experience.
It's literally all about the players. Everything we do is for the players. I'll say that maybe one of my regrets after the weekend is I was like really scared. I had a lot of fear about getting swept up into an improvisational conversation that would require my knowledge about lore that I did not have. And so I didn't really like ever go to the tavern without other NPCs as part of like a group going to get a meal. Or there was like 2 times where I would just like slip in and then like beeline for the drink line and then just kind of like stand there. And one of the times I did that, I did like kind of pulled into a conversation with someone else who was trying to get a drink. And I feel like they were like, I haven't seen you around, madame. And I was like, I'm an NPC. And like slammed my fist on my forehead. And then of course they like disappointed because like just because I'm an NPC, I don't have to like blow up the scene, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's like unclear like what you're supposed to be doing though, because like you don't have a character.
Yeah, but I think you can kind of just like vague, like I feel like
Improv.
If I was good, I would have like made it about them. Like I would have been like, yes, like I've just arrived here. Who are you, good sir? Like brings you to the tavern this eve, whatever. But I was just like, yeah, I'm an NPC.
Punching yourself in the forehead.
Punching myself in the head. Like he was nice, but yeah, I just like didn't have the acting chops of these people. Like,
so it requires a lot.
Yeah. And I think I had too much fear about that. Like, I think it's fine to go in and kind of like, you could just be like, I don't know, when someone asks you something, and that's fine. But I also didn't really have my like vaguely British voice down. Like, I like everyone has kind of like a soft British accent.
Yeah.
I wish that I had been able to like go super hard as like a hello, but like I didn't have that woman inside of me either.
I feel like if you'd done that, they would have like really wanted to keep interacting.
Yeah, they would have been like, "Where are you from? Why do you sound so old? Has
like,
a witch
put a
you
spell
must be on
you must be from like such and such land."
Brighton, love. I wish I was better at voices. Maybe this is like something I would work on if I went back. Cabin number 3 is the monster costume cabin. And that one was like really crazy. Like it has all these huge storage bins and they're all labeled like werewolf parts, spider costumes, ghouls and revenants, like all these crazy words on all these bins. And it's like act filled with things. The last cabin, cabin number 4, is the weapons and armor cabin. And this was like, I feel like Ren Fair attendee wet dream status. There was armor and like every type of weapon except foam. But I will say, like, I did not understand what foam weapons were before this. I was picturing like floppy swords, and the stuff looks like really realistic, and it is made of foam, but it's like a dense foam. So
yeah,
most things were like not floppy, and that's what we're working with. It's like so much stuff.
Yeah.
So then we have dinner. The NPCs have dinner. I meet Lizzie's friends who I had chatted with online. They're like really cool and really nice. Shout out.
And they're players.
They're NPCs.
Okay. What is like the ages and gender breakdown, you think?
Honestly, the gender breakdown was more evenly split than I anticipated. I was kind of worried that it would just be like all huge men, and it wasn't that. And the age range was, I would say, probably mostly mid 20s to mid 30s, but there were definitely older people there too, like 50s and 60s. Kind of hard to tell, but yeah, it felt pretty varied. There were no kids, but that's about it.
Was that like a rule?
Probably.
Yeah. And your cabin was just women?
No, there was a boy in my cabin.
Okay. So it was like mixed gender cabins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we eat our stew and our bread, and then we go back to Monster Town. We have the NPC orientation. So I get like a little bit of background on like what's going to happen. And my understanding is that like first day, there's going to be a lot of stuff like a wedding. And then there's going to be a tonal shift in the second day where we turn into undead things. Undead stuff starts taking shit over, and it's going to like get darker and scarier in day 2. And that's like the general arc of the weekend.
Okay.
And the orientation ends with this like awesome speech where this woman, the woman who has like the Last of Us fungus on her face, and she has like this crazy long black wig of hair that goes like past her feet, and then she's wearing this like awesome full body suit that looks very flesh-like and weird, and it's stretched over. She has wedges on her feet, but the suit goes over the wedges, so she has these like fucked up weird looking feet kind of. And she like hypes us up. She's like the main people, like staff that runs it, and she's like, we never have space for open NPCs. We never have space for more players. We are demanded for like LARP. And you know why? Because you guys make it amazing. You need to go hard out there. You need to make it real for them. When you're screaming, you're screaming. When you're crying, I want tears. Like, you believe in this so that they believe in this. We are the best LARP and we do not mess around. Like, she's like hyping us up like crazy in this like crazy outfit.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, I have to be real. And I'm told this anecdote,
my A game.
But I'm also told this story that like really sticks with me all weekend, which is the story about an NPC who was at the second event, and part of the like overarching plot for this LARP, I should say this LARP is like generally set in like a Game of Thronesy vibe. That was my understanding. It's like medieval. It's like vaguely medieval.
Yeah.
And
with
it's
like supernatural elements.
Yes. Supernatural like horror elements. And so they describe this thing that happened to this NPC in event 2 where they were like in the tavern and a player asked them where they were from, and they were just like me, didn't really know what was going on, and someone asked where they were from and they said they were from here because they thought that was just kind of like a general vague thing to say. But because like here the lands of this like mist surrounded area is like so like crazy and mysterious, everyone freaked out, and then all the players like became obsessed with this NPC, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're from here, you can like tell us all about here and all about the lore here. And like they interrogated them for hours, and like this NPC became like a very main character. So that was like the warning we were given to not like do something like that.
But also like that seems fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was fine. It's all fine. And that is like something I should have recognized. Like, it's fine. But also, how do you like keep up with all of these lore questions if you don't know what the lore is? Maybe it would have been easier in like event 2 when they'd only done it like twice. Just with so much lore at this point. But if you're like a good actor, you could probably survive an interrogation.
If you're a good improviser too. Mm-hmm. It's not like just acting.
So true. Yeah, it's definitely improv too. But that definitely like stuck with me. Like I was very scared of having an experience like that, mainly just because I didn't want to like disappoint the players after this hype up speech. So that's orientation. They also give a little bit of combat orientation, but it's like very light. Like they basically say never strike down from above, like only hit side to side, which makes sense for safety purposes. And there's like all these different rules for combat where basically like you're doing like sword fighting with whatever kind of weapons you have. And if you get hit in any of the limbs, then that limb is like dead. So like if I get hit in my arm, I can't use that arm anymore. And then if I get hit in that same arm again, that counts as a hit to my torso, which then means I go down. Or if I get hit in the torso immediately, that's also like I'm going down. So you can like your base level is basically like 2 hits and then you go down, but you can have like depending on your character and your armor level, you might have like capacity for more hits before they start taking your limbs and your core down. So that's like the basics of combat. And then there's also like special things that you can do with your voice to indicate that you're doing them. So if I swing and I yell cleave when I swing, cleave will like get through armor. If I swing and I yell disarm and I hit their weapon, they have to drop their weapon. If I swing and I yell sunder, this is like the most powerful thing. It breaks shields or weapons. I think cleave just goes through shields, but sunder breaks armor or shields. So it's like a big deal. So that's kind of how it works. But then also players, like depending on how experienced they are and what they've done in past events, they have resistances to certain things. So I could be like disarm and then they could be like resist. And then like that's them saying like that didn't hit me. And
can players die?
Yes, players can die.
That would suck if they died early.
Mm-hmm. It would. And if they die, they can like sometimes come back, but they can also just like create a new character. And the way that they come back, this is actually relevant to one of my final scenes, is they have to like plead with the god of death and then like decide if they're like, it's like a whole thing that's like a scene that they watch. The other thing that's really important about combat is no hitting like hands, face, feet, groin, boobs. And they have a rule that is basically the defender is always right, which means that if I hit somebody and they do not fall down, I have to trust that they are doing that for a reason that's right. So either they are resistant to that hit or they didn't feel the hit, but I'm as an NPC not allowed to be like, I hit you.
Yeah.
Seems fine. Right? Any reactions to that rule? It makes sense, right?
I mean, I can see, I think it makes sense because you have to have like some rule for making it not like a thing where it's like, no, I killed you. No, you didn't. Blah, blah, blah.
Right. And like these are adults.
Yeah.
And they're like paying to be there. So you would think that like they want it to be like, it's like you're kind of paying
they
to
want
like
there
have
to be
real
stakes.
Fights. Yeah, they want there to be stakes. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's also a marshal for every scene with combat. So there's like a person who's experienced with a white headband on who's watching and making sure that everything's going well, but they're not really watching to be like, hey, you got hit. They could be watching to say like, oh, you're being affected by this thing. Like you're being affected for 1, 2, 3, 4. If there's like a area spell or like an effect from like a poisoned item or something like that. But they're also there to yell like hold, to call the hold if need be, and just to like make sure everyone is safe.
Yeah.
So that's combat. I'm like a little bit nervous about combat because it's not that much information, but mainly I'm just going to try not to like actually hurt anybody. And I have a general sense of what I'm supposed to do. My first role, very excited to take on my big part of Spider number 2. I was disappointed to learn that Spider actually meant that I wasn't going to be in like a giant crazy spider suit. I was going to be in a black morph suit and then just have spider gloves. So these like rubbery spider props that went on my hands. So
like your hand was the spider.
Yeah, hands were the spider, not all of me. Have you ever been in a morph suit, Yarden?
No.
Okay. I haven't either. I will post photos of me in the morph suit.
Was it giving body?
It was giving body, but it was also definitely giving ego death. They're all one size, so they smell like okay. They don't smell new. I learned that people had been spiders the night before in like a low-key LARP, I guess, that was like optional on Thursday night. And yeah, so I zip up my morph suit, and I'm also given a this is when things get immediately really horrible. I'm given a Jason mask to put over my face so that this morph suit can zip all the way over my head, because apparently like you don't have a mask on under the suit. It's very uncomfortable to have the suit pressing so tightly into your face.
I can imagine that.
And it gets like in your eyelashes apparently. But I will say the Jason mask was...
What's a Jason mask?
It's like that white scary mask with like holes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredibly uncomfortable. I kind of wish I had not done it, because it is just like plastic on the inside and there's nothing separating it from your face other than like nose. So it gets like so wet and moist so fast. Like the inside of the plastic is like immediately like completely wet and is like touching my mouth and my face. And even though it's like my wet, it's like really gross.
Well, I mean, I'm sure other people had previously gotten them wet too.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing I didn't even think about. Hoping they're like wiping them down, but I didn't wipe mine down, so that's a good point.
Also, I feel like the holes are normally for ventilation, but you have the morph suit over.
Exactly. So I also like not see. Maybe I would say in the spider morph suit with plus Jason mask, I probably have like 30% vision, and it's daytime. I was way too overeager, and I zipped myself into my morph suit like it was probably like an hour before I was actually like got to be spider. But I make friends with my other spiders. Really nice. I learned that one of my other spiders, his parents met at a LARP. So LARP is like his blood, and he's super sweet, and he's like encouraging of it being my first time.
His spouse?
No, his partner was there too. But yeah, I didn't know people were like LARPing like this when it was like 30 years ago or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, we walk into these woods with like trails, and first I see there's like this insane well that they have built as a prop, and it's like a real well. Like it looks like it's made out of stone, and it's big. It's probably like 5 feet across and like 5 feet tall. So I'm walking by this well, this very scary woman with the fungus on her face and the wedges inside the tights is getting into the center of the well. And as I'm walking by, they're like taking the lid off of a box of dry ice that starts billowing out of the well.
Oh my God.
And they have like whole like theater lights like surrounding the well and inside of the well. And the whole thing is like looking insane. It's also starting to get dark. So this is like awesome and very scary looking. And that's like in the woods. And then we get to the spider area, and it's like this kind of part of the trail where they have strung, it's like wider, like almost road, like dirt road width. And they've strung like strings through it to create a web that's probably like, it spans the distance of the road, and then it extends probably like 10 feet down the road. And there's cobwebs hanging off of these ropes, so it looks like super webby. And the ropes are like crisscrossing, and they have bells on them. And we're told that basically we're going to be like laying in the forest on either side of the web, and when a player who's trying to get up like through the web rings a bell, we're going to like come out with our spider hand and be like shh, and like touch them and scare them. And then we can also, I have these like laminated cards to hand out to them that say things like they're like different forms of poison. So it's like poison, and it has like the effect. Like one of them is like paralyze, and they have to be like paralyzed for a certain amount of time after. One of them is like sleep, and if that happens, like another player has to like drag them out because they have to fall asleep right away. So that's how we're going to indicate like effects given to them.
It's also kind of a haunt.
Yeah, it's like very haunted house.
Got to be a scare actor.
Literally, I was wondering like if people do both, and I feel like they probably do. Yeah. I also was like, maybe this is where the makeup lady got so good at this like crazy makeup. So we get there, it's dark. I can't see anything really at this point. I can probably see like 10% of stuff because I have the Jason mask and the morph suit, and my face is soaking wet, and it's pitch black. And I kind of just like go fetal in the bushes by the road and then try to stay like as perfectly still as I can for probably half an hour while we wait for the players to show up. And I'm trying not to move because it's really loud when I like rustle, and I just kind of hang out and softly talk with my fellow spiders. But I'm also like kind of having an uncomfortable physical experience because my face is so wet. I don't want to be like opening my mouth. So I'm also kind of like pulling the mask away from my face. And then the players come, and they were honestly like really good at navigating the webs. And I did get a few of them, but I kind of felt bad. Like they take it so hard when something bad happens to them because they're in character and they're like, curses! And it's like scary and it's dark. But I handed out like 1 or 2 cards.
Curses!
And they're like, they are LARPing the whole time. Like I hear them talking in character dialogue as they approach. They're talking in dialogue as they're navigating the encounter. The whole thing is like very in character. That concludes my first big appearance as Spider.
Yes, Spider number 2.
Spider number 2. And then I go back to Monster Town. And I think the whole thing probably was like maybe an hour and a half plus like the 45 minutes that I put the morph suit on way too early. So I've been Spider for quite a while at this point.
All that for like 2 people to get like a poison.
Yeah, but like the other people probably felt really good not getting poisoned.
True.
And seeing the scary spiders.
And like that they navigated it.
Yeah. So then I put on my peasant clothes and go back to camp. I go to the tavern and I get a drink because I have a little bit of downtime before my next encounter. I had a very delicious Moscow Mule. And okay. I have like a 2-hour break before my next scene, and I hear that like the big event this night is this wedding that's happening. And so I'm like, I really want to watch the wedding, but I don't want to like fuck up the plot. So I put on my peasant clothes, I have my drink, and I'm kind of like being
You're underdressed.
I'm underdressed. I have a relationship with the groom. I was not invited. The wedding is like in the trees on the other side of these woods, and I'm being like really sus. And then I'm like, am I being so sus that people are going to be like, who is the assassin at the edge of the woods watching us and not coming any closer? Like I'm being weird and I'm not going close to anyone. And all these players are like streaming over from the tavern to see what's happening at the wedding. I'm lurking. I'm like 10 feet away from anyone. This woman's like, please come closer. There's going to be action. Like beckoning me closer. I'm scared that someone's going to be like, you're not supposed to be here. But no one says that because no one cares. Watch the wedding. The wedding is like normal, but I still feel like something bad is going to happen. And then I'm walking away from the wedding and shit starts happening. We're in this like big field. It's pitch black other than like players have lanterns with them. People are getting poisoned and they're dropping to the ground, and there's like combat all of a sudden. People are fighting. It's dark. I'm like scared in my peasant clothes, holding my Moscow Mule, like feeling very excited. And then someone is like yelling at the top of their lungs, medic, we need a medic. And I like fully start to panic that something bad has happened to somebody.
So that is like real, because you wouldn't say medic about like a old-timey doctor.
Right. You would say like, we need the apothecary man.
Yeah.
Or like the healer. Wrong. Yeah. That's what I thought, but I guess this is all in character. So they say we need a medic, and I start doing the best improv I've done all day, much better than Spider. I'm like panicked, thinking like, should I go into the tavern? I don't have service. Like, is there like a doctor here? Do we have like an EMT on staff? But everyone is just like continuing to LARP. So I realize, and then like a healer player runs over, and I can see they have like these laminated cards, and they're like doing stuff with them that I guess will enable them to like unpoison these people. So
you're like,
my
okay.
First brush.
Imagine that would have been so bad if you had been like, oh, I'm like calling 911. Like,
the cops are on their way. I'm like, I'm hurting them, like trying to snap a leg back into place that's like not broken. immediately doing stitches on someone who doesn't need it, trying to like sew up a fake wound. And people have like blood capsules that will like come out of their mouth.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was the first time that like the veil kind of slipped for me between LARP and reality, which was exciting. That was the wedding. Then I go back to Monster Town and I have one more role that I'm going to do for the night. And it's going to be werewolf like number 3. So I'm part of like a werewolf pack. I think that this is where things really kind of take a turn for me. Before this, I was like going to the one patch of the land that we were at where I got like one bar and texting Lizzie and being like, we have to come back and do this together in November. This is so fun. And then I go to get set up for my werewolf encounter and things took a real turn.
Oh no.
So I go back to Monster Town and to be a werewolf. And they had said before when I was signing up for roles, like we also sent an email to the management saying like what we were comfortable with and what we weren't. And they provided some examples. And one of the things was like not comfortable with wearing a mask. And I did not say that because
you're like, what's wrong with wearing a mask?
Right. Yeah. Back to Monster Town, and my werewolf suit is like insane. It's like this furry, full body. It's like furry pants and this furry top. And then the funniest thing about the top is it has these like dirty rags that are torn hanging off the shoulders to emulate like I assume the like tunic that I had busted out of when I transformed into a werewolf. And I have this like scary as shit werewolf mask that I have to put on, and it's so scary. I'm getting ready with the other werewolves, and every time I catch a glimpse of one in my peripheral vision, it makes me like jump. Like it is a really scary mask with
and like you're in the woods, like at night, like not knowing anyone with no service.
Yes, it's like really scary. I'm like, my dreams are going to be insane tonight already. It's like this muzzle that comes out of the face and there's blood and the eyes are scary and it's huge. And the inside of the mask has these like blocks of foam that keep the latex of the mask away from the skin, but which is like an improvement from Jason. But it also creates this really strange effect where my voice is echoing super loud in my ears. I would say in the werewolf mask, I started out with maybe 10% visibility because it's like these really tiny holes and it's like away from your face. So you can't really align it with your eyes. So I can't see. And I also can't really hear because whenever I speak, it echoes in my ears and everything is super loud.
So next time you would maybe say, I'm uncomfortable with masks.
Yes, definitely. Now I know that. So there's 5 of us werewolves. 3 of the werewolves are like me. So 2 others have never NPC'd before.
That's why they didn't say no to masks.
Right. Like we didn't know, basically. Yeah. We didn't know that this was not a coveted role to play. And this is also my first combat. So I'm pretty nervous about that. And I'm going to try to describe the lore of this scene to you so that you and the listeners have the same sense of what was going on as I did. But it's like warning, it's kind of complex. So basically, there is a person playing a god that the god, his brain is all scrambled and he's wearing these like crazy vines taped to him and glued to him. And he's sitting in this throne that's at the edge of this huge field. And then there's 2 possessed like viney people standing on either side of him and in front of him who are supposed to be speaking for him. So their role is they just like shake like crazy and they have their mouths kind of open. And then there's a huge JBL speaker behind the throne that's like making crazy sounds like that. That's supposed to be like them speaking for him. And there's like scary green light projected on him and it's pitch black. And that is kind of the vibe at the edge of the field. Okay. His name is, we'll call him Aragorn. Okay. There's a portal that when he starts doing this, a portal that opens up into his mind. The portal is human size. It's like this huge big ring that's also lit up that you can step through. And if players choose to approach this god and then go into the portal, they will be transported. Basically, they'd have to be led, like kind of out of scene by other NPCs or staff, to this huge barn that I'll show you a photo of. It was like this ginormous, very spooky barn at the edge of the property. And in the barn, they've set up this whole other scene where there's the pack leader, this big werewolf, scary god guy with these like glow in the dark chains wrapped around him, and his like ribs are all bloody, and it's very scary. And he's like a tall person who's going to chase them around this maze while they navigate the maze of this like confused god's mind to find these memories. And if they can find all the memories and bring them back, they like win the encounter, and they're going to like help this god remember whatever he needs to remember about himself. So that's like the gist. And then when the portal opens up, my part as a werewolf is I was supposed to be basically like guarding the portal and just generally like stewing up violence and bad things. So me and the other werewolves are supposed to come out of the portal and fight all the players who are thinking about approaching the portal and talking to this god. So there inside of you, there are two wolves. There is the wolf outside of you, and then there are the wolves in the maze of your mind that are more confused.
Wow. That is like so elaborate and abstract and creative.
So. And I'm told that I'm going to be spawning over and over and over again. So like they cannot defeat us, but we can be killed. So as soon as I die, I'm supposed to hand on my head, make the horn, scurry to the side of where I was, and then go back out into the combat for as long as it takes the players. The scene in the field is supposed to last as long as it takes for the players in the barn to get the memories. Any questions?
Wow. Well, I just have like a takeaway so far, which is just like there is so much creativity out there. And I don't know what these people's day jobs are, but I presume like most of them don't work in entertainment or theater, like writers, and maybe some of them do, but probably a lot of them don't. It's just like really shows, I don't know, like people are so creative, like so many people, and I'm glad that they have this outlet. My first instinct was to be like wasted potential, but like it's not wasted because it's like creating this magical thing for people.
You're like, this LARP should be all of your full-time jobs, and this should be like a Renaissance town for people to go to.
Yeah, like whoever wrote this should be like writing best-selling fantasy novels or like play like scripts, and like some of these people should be like famous movie stars.
Yeah, I will say like some of the NPCs were like phenomenal actors, like the ability to cry on command. And I will say, actually, I'm sure like a lot of people just have normal jobs, but I did notice like there were multiple people I talked to there who were video game designers. So I do feel like it is like some people are definitely like living their cool creative fantasy dreams and then also doing this. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like I was so impressed. It's like a Renaissance fair, but like as I thought I wanted it. Like no one is trying to like sell me stuff, and it's like so immersive.
Right.
Yeah.
It's what we wanted from the Renaissance.
It's what we wanted. This is what a Renaissance fair could be if it was led by a queen. And there was a really cool, some of the women that were running this were really cool and like badass. So I'm preparing for my role as werewolf, and I'm getting pretty freaked out because I can't really breathe in the werewolf mask. I can't really hear. I can't really see. It's really dark. And then we have these like foam boffers that are like it's like a foot long, maybe a foot and a half. And it's just like this like black foam club. But then I see the players who have collected, and it's not everyone. Not everyone has to do any, like you can do whatever you want. There are definitely players who were like, fuck that, I don't want to engage in combat. I'm just going to like drink in the tavern with my friends. Or they might be like off doing something else entirely in the woods. Like who
there's
knows?
like another scene or encounter happening at the same time.
There like could be, or they could just be like LARPing on their own. Like a lot of stuff.
Not everything has to be like scripted.
Yeah, because like they have so many political things going on between their factions that like I feel like they're also doing that on their own. Like they unsupervised are also like definitely making plot.
That's one of my questions is like how much of what happens is pre-written versus like how much just is improvised by the players. Like, was like the counter cult like something that just ended up happening? You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it is kind of like that, because like some of the players will choose to be like evil or like have like intentions that aren't aligned with other people. I think a lot of it is like player born. And after the event, they sent around like a call for people to send information about what had happened. Like if you gain
Okay.
any secrets, or if you betrayed an alliance, or if there's something you want us to know, like our best plot comes out of your improv. So tell
Right.
us. And I'm looking at this field in front of me, and there's probably like 40 to 50 players on it, and they have full armor in most cases, and they have massive fucking swords, like 3 to 5 foot long weapons, and they're like big and scary. They tell us like our armor classes and stuff, but then it's all kind of like vibe, like make the fight good, make it cinematic. When you get hit, I'm told when you get hit around 20 times, you should fall down. Really nervous. I have never really like fought anyone before or done any like mixed martial arts. And as you know, and I'm assuming listeners can tell, like Den and I aren't so talented at new sports right away. So I run out there. I'm like werewolf number 3 in the line. I get out there, and immediately it is like type 2 fun. Like I am surrounded. I can't see. They're all around me. It's like 10 on 1, I would probably estimate. I'm getting hit all over my body. I'm hitting, but my hits are not doing anything because I'm like
Does
sweeping.
it hurt?
It hurts. It hurts.
Like they're hitting hard?
They're hitting hard. Like
what's the point of that? I feel like I would just like tap.
Yeah, I think that it's a lot of like not realizing how much momentum they have. I think it's also that there's a scary fucking werewolf out there.
They're more scared of you than you are of them.
And they immediately forget that there is a human girl inside that werewolf suit who has never done combat before. And
I'm just a girl from the werewolf.
That's what I want to be saying. But instead I have to be roaring, because part of my job as a werewolf is I'm supposed to like go into a rage where I do one big long roar and swing my weapon wildly but safely. And then when the roar is done, I have like a buff. Like I'm like tougher. And they also want to teach the players that they shouldn't hit us when we're doing that. Like it's like supposed to be kind of a lesson in this like skill of the werewolves. So I'm like doing my roar as loud as I can and swinging my weapon. I can't see anything. I'm kind of moving in like slow motion because I've been told 1 hit per second to keep things cinematic. I'm just immediately swarmed by these people. It's like I'm getting hit so hard. I can't see anything. I'm basically just taking as much as I can until I feel like, ugh. And then I just kind of fall fetal onto the ground. And then someone comes and stands atop me and goes, killing blow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then walks away, and I'm dead. And then I can put my hand on my head and scurry to the side of the combat. And I'm immediately like pretty freaked out because it was like I wasn't really expecting to get hit at all. And I'm like really bad at combat. It's immediately clear. I feel like I'm hitting their swords and I have some disarms. So I keep yelling disarm, but I'm not disarming anyone.
Like they're not accepting it. Having selective hearing.
Literally, they are. And like I feel like I'm yelling this stuff. Like this whole thing is like a crazy humiliation ritual. Like I'm literally getting beat up. I'm blind, I'm deaf, and it's pitch black and I'm scared. And I'm roaring and it's echoing in my ears. I'm basically just like, fuck it, I'm dying. So I flop down, I die. I scurry over to the edge of the woods, and I get back there. I take off my mask to catch a breath because I like can't really breathe with my mask on. And the guy who's like leading the combat is like, all right, as soon as you catch your breath, like I want you guys to get back out there. So I breathe for like
Jesus
30 seconds, and then we go back out again, and it's hell. I do it again. I hate it. I'm not making any impact on anyone. I'm getting hit a lot.
It really shows something, like when people see someone as like not human and like so different from them, they don't have empathy.
Yeah, there was no behind these wolven eyes. I wasn't getting any love. I'm not worried about like getting a bone broken or anything. I'm just like
death by 1,000 cuts.
Exactly. Like, I think I'm kind of a coward, and I'm like, I actually am not enjoying this at all. Like, I don't want to go back out there and like,
I'm not playing. I'm not playing.
I'm hurt. I'm not playing. I'm hurt. But I don't want to say that because this is only my second thing. And like
Yeah.
Spider went so well, but I didn't pass out that many cards. And I can also tell that like basically all of the werewolves are not really having fun. And so I don't want to be like the weak link because then it's going to be like 1v15 for each of them versus like 1v10. So I go back out and then I come back. And the guy who's leading it is like, when I'm in combat, you hear my roars from like a mile away. Like, I really want you guys to be roaring loud. And like, I am roaring what I feel like is really loud, but I think it's like getting stuck in the mask, you know?
Yeah.
So then he's like, all right, let's try something different this time. I really want you guys to scare them. So how about this time we'll go over to this side. We're going to creep through the woods and you guys are just going to all rush out like a wall all at once. And we're like, okay, yeah, like, yes, sir, we'll do that. So we go over to the side and we rush out all at once. And immediately I'm just like mowed down, take as many like 20 hits as I can handle. And then I fall over. And then I bring myself back over to the side. And it's like so clear we're not doing a good job because he's like, all right, like, nice try. Let's try to up the stakes a little bit so they really get scared. So I see you guys aren't landing that many hits out there. So we're going to do this thing where you're going to be able to yell Sunder and provide as many Sunder hits as you want within like the first minute after you do your roar rage. So I'm like, okay, like this is going to be good because it may be like the fact that my hits aren't landing is due to the fact that all these people have like freaking like coats of armor on. And so of course, and they're like real armor. It's like metal. So I'm going back out there. I'm armed with my Sunders and I go back out and this is even more embarrassing because now I'm out there and I'm yelling big Sunder and I'm hitting and nothing is fucking happening. And I thought that Sunder was supposed to be like a really big bad thing. And how embarrassing to be yelling this word that I don't even know is a real word and have no reaction from these adults who are beating me up.
Jesus.
I do Sunder one person. There is one person in this whole encounter where I yell Sunder and I hit their shield and they're like, oh, and they stagger back and they drop the shield. And that felt good as my wolf self.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm just getting freaking brutalized out there. So then I come back and the guy's like, okay, we really got to show them a bit more of a fight here. So this time, since I'm not hearing any of you guys roar, let's do a call and response roar. So when you start running out as a group, I'm going to roar and you're going to roar in response. And we're like, okay, yeah, sounds good. So at this point, I feel like I've been doing this for like half an hour. And we run out and he roars really loud and I roar really loud. And then I fight to the death. And I'm starting to realize that like this is all moot because there is no victory for me here. Maybe I'm supposed to feel the way I do feel because I am born here to serve and to die. Like I am the villain. I am.
You're Mickey 17.
I'm Mickey, literally. So at this point, I'm probably werewolf 8. No, I'm probably werewolf 5 at this point. Literally, like there's no winning it. I'm like getting frustrated that they're not taking my hits, but I'm also realizing like, well, they're the heroes here. And like, yeah, I go out here to die. That is my purpose. So I'm feeling pretty discouraged in this role.
I mean, this is why your ticket was free. Like you're doing work.
I'm doing work. I go back to the side and the guy's like, all right, totally cool that you guys didn't roar in response to my call and response roar. I know you're focused on fighting and you've got a lot of Sunders to call. I'm like, bro, I roared in response. Like, I don't, what's happening? Is there like something weird that's like shielding? Like I'm screaming and no one's hearing it.
Yeah, the mask.
The mask. And then I can't tell, so I'm like, I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to fucking yell Sunder as loud as I can, and these bitches better drop their weapons and lay down. But it's like so embarrassing because they're being pretty quiet as they're fighting, and I can't hear. The other wolves are like, I lose them immediately. So I'm in this like dark field surrounded by adults in armor, and I'm the only one being like, Sunder! And then it's just like panting, and that's it. Like, I'm so loud.
At least you were anonymous.
Yeah, they don't know who I am. That changes the next time when I'm wolf number 6. Because we get told after I scurry over that we have to keep going again. And at this point, we're all kind of breaking because I think we're all so bad at combat that we're not doing a good job. Like the players aren't scared. They're not falling down. No one is getting hurt. The stakes are feeling low. And we're like, the only way we can keep doing this is without our masks on. So then we take our masks off.
It's like their fault. Like, if they're like ignoring the Sunders.
Yeah, I just can't tell. Like, maybe I'm just doing a really bad job at hitting.
Hear.
Yeah, or I'm just like not hitting them, which is embarrassing. But I'm definitely hitting them sometimes. So it's like a combination, I feel like. There is one person out there that I am growing immediately more scared of, and it's this woman who is a knight who hits really hard, and she plays it super real. She's very aggressive, and I'm really scared of her. So as I start going out, I am intentionally trying to avoid her in the werewolf combat. She will return later. So keep that in mind. Scary lady knight who's out there. I had anticipated the men being the scariest. It was like definitely this woman knight who was hitting me the hardest. So then we take our masks off. I think we do it like maybe 2 more times. And then finally the encounter in the barn wraps and we're told that we can stop and be done.
If you've ever wondered 3 wolves versus 100 people, how you know?
100 people wins every time.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really discouraged. And I'm also feeling like I don't want to do combat anymore. I feel like my experience has taken a turn. So that was the end of my first night. It's 2 a.m. and I carried my tired bones back to my cabin and tried to go to sleep. And I slept really bad because I have a hard time sleeping around strangers, and I was kind of tossing and turning, and my body hurt really bad.
And you like had so much like stimulation and like fear right before.
Yes, and I had like seen so many scary sights that I had never seen before. Like I feel like I'm always trying to avoid that kind of thing, like not watching scary movies and not going into haunted houses, but I was like in the house. And it helped a little that I was inside the scary mask, but also they were all around me, and I experienced war. I would say like the werewolf experience just really felt like I had committed some grave sin in a past life, and I was like doomed to the Sisyphusian task of like dragging my weary bones onto the battlefield over and over, with the only prospect being death, like just death over and over, but not an easy death either.
That sounds really hard.
So that was my first night at LARP, and I will show you now. The proof is in the pudding.
Oh my god. Oh, she's all bruised up. People that can't see. And bruises covering her arms.
And you can see they're like sword bruises. You see that?
Yeah, it looks
they're like strikes.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, and this is a week old. Yeah, so that was crazy. And that's, I think, where we'll leave it. So come back for part 2, where you'll hear about the second half of my LARP experience and the grand finale to this whole crazy weekend that I had subjected myself to. Will I grow to love LARP? Will things turn around? Or is werewolf the dark end to this? Oh, also, when I got back to my cabin, I was like, yeah, like, that was crazy. Like, I couldn't see anything, and they were hitting so hard, and it was so dark. And the other 2 people were like, yeah, we never werewolf. Like, after I werewolfed my first time, I was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm like, okay, cool. So, like, everyone knew werewolfing was horrible.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone wants to beat up a werewolf.
Yeah. No one wants to be the werewolf who gets beat up.
No. Okay, so stay tuned to see if it's Kaia's scene.